Greetings, friends and fiends, and welcome to The Keep. I am Lindsay the Keeper, and it is my duty to protect this reality from eldritch horrors by reading tales from r/RPG horror stories. You know, while reading a lot of these stories on this subreddit, I have realized that there isn't much on one stereotype that we haven't come across: the superiority complex player. These people act like little Malfoys from Harry Potter that believe that the world revolves around them, and they don't believe, or maybe don't accept failure as an option. It really boggles my mind on this because either someone trains them to be like this, or if their ego is too big to accept any bad results. In today's tale, Opie tells their story about a superiority complex fighter that had his pride hurt so badly that they tried to unalive another player character out of anger. Now, sit back, relax, and cuddle up to your favorite tendril as we begin reading this horrifying tale. Enjoy! This story is written by Jester TF with the title, Fighter with Superiority Complex Demands Advantage and Nearly Kills Wizard. Well, my D&D 5e party is nearly ending. We have been playing for over 1.5 years with many fun, sad, and emotional memories, but it reminded me of a player I had near the beginning of the campaign. The party was a group of mercenaries who all needed money for their own reasons. I will use character names to protect the privacy of everyone. For the record, I will most likely butcher the names in advance. You all have been warned. Hi, this is Lindsay the Keeper from the future. When I was recording this, it took me 30 takes to say one damn name right. So, I decided for the sake of my sanity and for your ears, I'm going to call them by their class because my real life intelligence is most likely a 6. That is all. The party exists out of me, the GM at the time, being quite new to DMing, saying this was my first serious party. Wizard, a human who wants to gather money and study a new form of magic that manipulates time. Wizard is played by a close friend of mine in real life who has been interested in a new D&D party since the last one was disbanded. He played as a strategist character, but he himself is a curious player who wanted to explore the world's lore and flesh out as much of it as possible. Ranger, an ASMR who needed money to rebuild her home for her and her 8-year-old daughter, which was burned down by her ex-husband who went mad. Her daughter stayed with the neighbors as Ranger went to travel. She is played by my girlfriend, who had an interest in D&D but had no idea where to start. At first, she stayed silent in the back, but she learned to open up and got more into it. Druid, a half-elf who was in search for money so he could buy his village back from Ursuline slave workers. He is played by another friend of mine who I met through Wizard. He had an interest in D&D and was a more calm player and the voice of reason for the most part. Rogue, a tiefling who fled from her hometown because her adopted father saw her as something different than an adopted child. I have met her through gaming online and she wanted to join a new D&D party as well. She was mostly a supportive character towards the others and their backstories, but fell silent when it came to her own. And finally, Fighter, the half-orc and the problem player, who wanted money mostly because he liked it, but also wanted to get stronger items so he could defeat his old rival who banished him from the army. He joined Rogue, being her at-the-time partner, and had experience playing a combat-heavy game before. I knew him as well for being in a gaming team together, and he was known for being generally salty and ragey. I warned him that this would be a lot less combat-heavy game and a lot more role-playing, since everyone preferred that, to which he agreed and said he was fine with. It was far from fine. The party got together after clearing a town of a virus that has been turning people into ice, finding the medicine and returning it to them. After they finished their task, they went to the tavern to discuss what to do through roleplay. After a bit, Ranger asked a question, seeing we would travel over a part that included her backstory. Ranger, hey, could we perhaps stop at the village at the end of the bridge? Wizard, why so? Wouldn't it be smarter if we went directly to Bagger's Hole, the town where their next mission was located? Ranger, Well, I used to live there, but after the fire, my daughter had to stay with the neighbors while I gathered money to rebuild it. Wizard. Oh, well, that makes sense. I suppose we could stop on our way there. Fighter. I guess, and if there are any strong guys there, perhaps we could fight them. Ranger. Preferably not. They are nice people. Fighter let out some grumpy noises, in which I already should have noticed he just wanted to bash heads in, but for some reason, I did not. After traveling to the town, they found some guards with wanted posters. They were looking for a group of criminals, which the party had not seen, but decided to keep an eye out since the bounty was pretty high. The party decided to rest in the town for the night, in which Druid noticed a goblin stealing something from a blacksmith. He woke the party and followed the goblin. They found the hideout where they were storing all kinds of treasures and gold, which is also where Rogue found her first magic item, a cloak of elvenkind. For those of you who do not know, the cloak of elvenkind basically makes your character harder to see, giving you an advantage, rolling twice and taking the highest number on stealth checks, and for the enemy's disadvantage, rolling twice and taking the lowest number on perception checks against her that require sight. They head in, beat the goblins, and capture one to interrogate it. After persuading it with gold, which catches his interest, he tells them that their bosses are criminals trying to build a machine of some kind. Looking at the boss's lair, they found the criminals the guards were searching for earlier. Me. You enter a lair of pillars on the sides. Down the stairs in front of you, you see the criminals, the ones the guards were searching for earlier. Standing in front of them is a huge machine with all kinds of steam and heat coming off of it. You can feel it all the way at the entrance. They do not seem to notice you yet. Rogue. I will sneak behind the pillars, trying to get closer. She rolls for stealth and gets an 8. Me. I would like to remind you, you can roll with advantage because of your cloak of elvenkind. She rolls again and gets a 17. A lot better. Me. You jump behind the pillars. Your steps are as silent as the wind. You slowly manage to approach them. Fighter. Oh, I would like to join her. Me. You will have to roll for stealth, but with disadvantage. Fighter. What? Why? Me. Because you are wearing heavy armor. Fighter. Don't I get advantage too because I am near Rogue? Me. No, that only works for her. Fighter. Such a BS, man. He still rolls and it's a 6. Tough luck. After the bosses got beaten pretty easily, the second phase begins as I start narrating the scene. Me. You see their shapes change as the genasi slowly seems to turn see-through and liquid, while the tiefling skin starts burning bright red and lights ablaze seconds later. The wind starts blowing harder and howling when the elf transforms into a being made of air, and the goblin slowly merges his skin into a stone-like armor, punching his fists together and ready to fight. Fighter. I will attack the closest element, the flame elemental, with my flame-tongue sword. He crits his attack and rolls nearly max damage. Me. As your sword clashes into the element, it makes short contact before the elemental looks at it with an unimpressed look. Fighter. What? But I critted! Me. But you do not one-shot it. Fighter. I'll attack again with my second attack. He rolls another nat 20. We were using the campaign on D&D Beyond so I could check everyone's rolls, and it was legit. Fighter. Natural 20. Mediocre damage, but it still crits. Me. You make another slash with your sword as the elemental scorches over you and is ready to attack you on its next turn. Fighter. That is total BS. You made it stronger because you know I would kick its ass. Me. That is certainly not the case. So, Ranger, it is your turn. Fighter. You're right, let's see what that witch does. I muted him a second later, saying, You are allowed to criticize at me, and you can yell at me however you want. But you are not allowed to harass your fellow party members. You are staying on mute until your next turn. We went over to the next turn where Druid and Ranger got an idea. Ranger, DM, I would like to open my flask of water and start throwing it over the fire elemental. Me, alright, I would like you to roll a bear d20. She rolls an 11. Me, as you start violently shaking your flask to it, you manage to get some of the water onto it as it takes a step back. You could see some of the fire on its arm become smaller. Druid, when it's my turn, I would like to do the same thing. I homebrew the elementals a bit so they would have weaknesses, like water, no resistance against bludgeoning for the earth elemental, so it would feel rewarding for them to find out their weaknesses. After a long part of combat, the party won, keeping the earth elemental unconscious to claim the prize for him being wanted. The party was given a handsome reward of 500 gold and a few nights of free rest at the tavern of choice. But Fighter still seemed grumpy. Wizard, well, I think we should head to Farland next. I want to revisit some old friends and maybe see my little ornament again. Ranger, well, you went out of your way to come here, even though it's a detour, so that's okay. Fighter, are we just gonna visit every town we have in our backstory to talk to old friends? Wizard, no, I just want to check in on a special project. Rogue, why are you so cranky? Are you still salty that you did not get to kill the fire elemental in 6 seconds? Fighter, I hit him so hard. He was supposed to be dead so much earlier. I am freaking great at fighting. Wizard, DM, may I roll to see if I know about any resistance? I allowed, and he rolls a 25. Me, you remember from monstrology class that elementals are immune against damage of their same element. You also note that most elements are pretty sturdy to any item that is not a magical weapon. Wizard, I'll explain this to Fighter. Fighter, but my weapon is a flame-tongue sword. It should have done normal damage. Me, no, because it does not do magical damage. It's normal flame and slashing damage. Wizard, indeed, just because your IQ is as high as the age of Ranger's daughter does not mean you have to be rude about not getting your way. Most of us laughed out of that statement. Except for Fighter. I could feel him getting more annoyed over the microphone. Fighter, DM, I would like to hit Wizard. Me, what? Why would you? Wizard, it's fine, let him. Me, well, okay then, roll to attack. He sadly hits. Wizard takes 5 damage. Wizard, ow, damn. Fighter, I wanna hit her again. Wizard, I cast shield. He rolls to attack and misses. Me, as you try to go in for a second attack, Wizard extends her hand in front of her. A purple energy-like shield forms in front of her, ricocheting your hand off of it. Wizard, I would like to cast Scorching Ray, but only as a warning shot. I don't want to hit him too badly. For those of you who do not know, Scorching Ray is a spell that allows you to fire 3 rays, so you have to roll for each ray. 2 of the rays hit, and 1 missed. Me. Okay, Fighter, you see Wizard raise her staff, slamming the bottom onto the ground as the crystal in it lights up. 3 purple blasts of fire scorch you as 2 of them hit you in the arm. You manage to step aside in time for the 3rd one. Fighter, I grab my flame-tongue sword and attack. Me. Okay, do you want to take a warning hit as well? He already rolled, and it's yet another nat 20. It was painful to look at. Wizard was on 3 hit points as Fighter nearly yelled, I attack again. I intervened, seeing where this was going. As you try to attack, you 2 feel yourself getting lifted by your collars. The barkeeper, a 6'3" tall Leon, looks you 2 in the eyes. What do you lots think you're doing? You're destroying me tavern. Ya better pay up, or so to Tanchi, I will throw both of ya in jail. Wizard, my apologies for the trouble we have caused you. Please, allow us to pay you for the damage. How much will it be? Barkeeper, 100 gold at least. Wizard, here is 50 gold from me. Fighter, you should pay the other half. Fighter, I won't. Barkeeper, and why is that? Fighter, I don't feel like it, and she used her magic on me. Barkeeper, then let's have a chat with our good old pals of the town's guard, shall we? He got arrested and put behind bars until he was bailed out or until he sat out his jail time of 2 weeks. Logically, the party did not want to pay his bail money. And this was one of many stories I have of Fighter. If you'd like to read more, do let me know. I hope I somewhat entertain you guys while reading this. As for people like Fighter, don't rage over a TTRPG because it does not go as planned. It makes you look immature. End of story. I do want to apologize for my terrible voice acting skills. I really need to work on it if I'm playing out different characters. I blame my low charisma stat points on that, and I'm the warlock. But let's get into the thoughts of the story. OP did what they thought was best for them at the time. It's hard when you have a social relationship with someone like this. Trust me, I used to be friends with someone like this, minus the gamer rage. On a personal level, I'm not sure how I would handle someone like this. But if this was my game, I would give this fighter one warning and one warning only. Especially if they try to be aggressive towards another player out of anger. I get it if you're frustrated that you can't do something cool or you didn't realize the weaknesses, but there is going to be another time where your cool stuff will come out. Every player deserves to be recognized through the story since this is a cooperative game, believe it or not. The only other thing that bugged me is that this guy knew he was going to be in a heavy role-playing campaign from the very beginning. He should have expected that every session is less you bashing heads in and more of telling the story to bring your characters to life. Not saying you can't bring your characters to life through combat, but I'm not sure how much of it we get to tell if their weapons and armors are clinch and blood. Okay, maybe a bit much on the analogy, but I hope you get my point across. Now that the story is over and reality is still in a state of calm, I'm going to depart for now. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more videos. You can also send me an email if you have a particular story you want me to read on this channel. I hope to see you all in the next video.